I was asked in my last sharpening of this s90v how the Kingstones and the Suehiro Cerax handled this steel. I've got very little experience sharpening this stuff. I've only sharpened like 3 knives total with this particular steel. I used it at work, touched it up a couple times on the Spyderco ceramics. I'm going to go ahead and try the Kingstone 1K, 6K, dull it out, and then we'll try the Suehiro Cerax 1K, 6K and see how they perform. I imagine the 1Ks will be just fine. They'll produce a burr, everything will go fine. It's the 6Ks I'm curious about. I think the Cerax will probably be okay because it is friable. However, the Kingstone is soft. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And both sets of stones do require a soak. The Kingstone, give it a good 30 minutes and it's good to go. The Suehiro Cerax, it needs about 15. So first off, dull the edge. This does 2 things. 1, of course, it dulls the edge, and 2, it grinds down into new steel. So when you actually sharpen and produce an edge, you're producing an edge into new steel and not old fatigued steel. I had a fairly high polish on the knife to begin with, so I should be able to tell right away how the 1K is holding up. And it's getting a little hazy. Looking at the stone, there is some metal removal. Still not at a burr. This bevel is already set, so all I've got to do is reshape it. Still not quite there. Okay, I've got a burr produced everywhere except in the very base and the very tip. Got a very small burr right in the base. Almost there. Got a burr in the tip, so now I'm going to blend it all back together. Kingstones get ragged on quite a bit because people say they're soft. Now I guess the traditional version of the 1K stone used to produce quite a bit of mud. The KDS version, though, is quite hard. It can kick up a mud if you allow it, but just sharpening like I'm doing right now, well, you can see how much is produced. It's really not a lot. No more than most other stones. I would say no more than Shapton. Nanowatt Pro produces a whole lot more mud, definitely. That's one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of the Nanowatt Pro 1K, is because of how muddy it is. It makes a damn mess. You get green slurry everywhere. Now, unconsciously, I'm actually applying more pressure, and I just realized I was doing that, so bring that to your attention. I was probably putting down a good 6 to 8 pounds of pressure just now. Didn't even realize I was doing it. But this is a more wear-resistant steel than I'm used to, so I guess my brain is just compensating for it. So I've eased up on my pressure. I'm back down to hand weight only. Got a burr everywhere except the tip again. Got a full-on burr. Do some blending. Now, as I said in my last video when I sharpened this stuff, I said it liked to hang on to its burr. But when I did my last sharpening, that didn't seem to be the case. So I'm going to do some burr minimization passes here, just in case there's going to be problems on the next stone. Hopefully I can get some of it taken care of now. If you follow my channel at all, you know my 1K, 6K stone here was sent to me by a viewer, James. And after my very first use, the 6K cracked on me right here. Shortly after that, it chipped out really badly in several spots. I've had to grind it down to keep it looking halfway decent. And it's just, this stone is a mess. This crack shouldn't be a problem in the sharpening. However, if I start running across it and it feels like there's a lip there, I may take my diamond plate to it, grind it down a little bit. I can still feel a little bit of a burr on this side of the knife, so I'm going to start on that side. And passing over that crack, I can't even feel it. It just feels like solid stone. So I think I'll be alright. Still don't know why it cracked on me. But such is life. Now on most steels, at this point, we should start seeing some shine and luster. I am getting a little bit, although it's not as much as you would think. So the stone is cutting, but it's doing it very, very slowly. I think I'm going to go ahead and produce some mud on it just to see if that helps. I'm going to use a Nanowa cleaning stone here. Just get a little mud produced and see if this will help get some of these scratches out and get the bevel to shine. That is helping a little bit. I am avoiding that crack, at least as much as I can. I just don't want a chance running over it and ruining my edge. That is helping it polish a little bit better. Still got quite a bit of haze. And I think I'm going to call it here in just a second. I think that's about all this stone is going to give me. If I have to work any longer at it, well, it's not worth it. This is the edge, straight off the stone, no stropping. As far as the Kingstone goes, it looks like it can sharpen s90v. You might have a little bit of a hiccup there trying to get it polished out, but it is doable. So this is the scratch pattern straight off the stone, no stropping. The last stone, Suehiro Cerax 6K, like the 1K, it is friable. I think it's going to cut probably faster than the King did, although it's not going to be a huge difference. The difference as far as the polish goes is this stone doesn't produce a high luster like the King does. It produces a hazy finish. When it's stropped, usually a little bit of shine will come out. However, this still actually looks like it's polishing with a high luster. Might be an effect of burnishing or something, I'm not sure. It's interesting. Yeah, it's producing not a super high luster, but it is getting a shine to it. And as you can see from the stone, plenty of metal is being removed. Getting some fuzzies on the stone. Rinse it off real good. Rinse the knife off. Not sure what those were. No telling. Could be something falling through the air. Could be just a piece of napkin, dust from my hand. Who knows? Plenty of steel coming off. Ooh. I just dug right into that. You can see my mark right there. Snow plowed right into the stone. Main reason I don't like soft stones right there. I don't know what that did to my edge. S90v is pretty wear resistant, so I think even with that little hiccup, the edge is probably fine. I may suffer a little bit for that, but I don't think it's going to be night or day difference. I gotta pay attention to what I'm doing. I just dug the tip in. So how can you avoid doing stuff like that? Well, you can just go to all stropping strokes. Which I am not a fan of. I think I've got some burr. I do. I have some burr breaking off on the stone. Once again, rinse it off. Once again, this is the edge, straight off the stone, no stropping. Going to do a quick strop. This is white compound. This is actually where I'm going to leave the edge. I was going to do a coarse edge on my next sharpening, but given the nature of this video, well, this is where we're at. So one side of this drop is white compound, the other is 1 micron diamond spray. This is the diamond, by the way. I've got a hiccup right in here. That's where I snow plowed into the stone. So it did indeed affect the apex. Yeah. So I can push cut in the belly and near the base, but when I try to push cut in the middle, it just doesn't want to do it. If I give it a little bit of a tilt, like a slicing motion, I can come in and nail it. Anyway, push cut or not, the knife is plenty sharp for my needs at work. So the question, can the King and the Cerax handle s90v? Well, Benchmade s90v on a mini Freek, absolutely. It's not my ideal choice. They're fairly slow. I would probably choose diamond or silicon carbide over it. But if it's all you got, it'll absolutely work. Give you guys one final look at this bevel from the Suehiro Cerax. This is after stropping, of course. I should have showed it to you beforehand, but I got ahead of myself. I apologize. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them down below. Appreciate you guys watching. Y'all have a good one.